Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode Recap and Thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the FUNimation dub of episode 45 of Dragon Ball Super. We begin this episode where we last left off. The purple blob swallowed Vegeta whole and spit him out, then it took on Vegeta's form, and is voiced by Brian Drummond, Vegeta's voice artist from the Ocean dub. Oh, and the dub decided to go with Duplicate Vegeta for the character's name. I've seen some translations refer to the character as Copy Vegeta or Cloned Vegeta, but they decided to go with Duplicate Vegeta. But I digress. Duplicate Vegeta reveals that he not only has Vegeta's appearance, but he also has Vegeta's power, as in strength and abilities, and he demonstrates this when he launches a Gallic gun off in the distance, just to kind of scare everyone present. Duplicate Grill also orders Duplicate Vegeta to absorb the energy and power of everyone else present and wants him to start with Trunks, but Duplicate Vegeta hesitates, and this gives Jaco enough time to use his laser gun to shoot at the duplicates to give Vegeta, Goten, Trunks, Monaka, and Potage the chance to escape. And Jaco escapes a little later afterwards, but he eventually catches up to them. So the group manages to find a place to rest and hide. And that's also where they get some answers regarding the duplicates. Potage explains that the duplicates are the result of the Superhuman Water. Those purple blobs were in fact the Superhuman Water. And this confuses Jaco because he says that he heard that much like what Grill said in the previous episode, he heard that the Superhuman Water was a tonic that's supposed to make whoever drinks it more powerful. But Potage reveals that what they've been hearing was actually a myth, and a myth that was created from a misunderstanding of what the Superhuman Water really is, because Superhuman Water isn't even its real name. Potage says that the real name is the Komesun, and he explains that the Patafuans, the inhabitants of Potafu, were the ones who created the Komesun. It was created as a weapon meant to defend Potafu from any invaders, because the Patafuans themselves were not very powerful. Unfortunately, though, the Komesun was corrupted by the evil of the invaders, so it gained a will of its own, and it was going around causing trouble even for the inhabitants of Potafu. The fact that the duplicates look like the people that they copied and are more powerful is where the misconception about the Superhuman Water giving whoever drinks it power, that's where the misconception came from. And Potage explains that he and his people were able to seal away the Komesun, but it came at a great sacrifice. They had to use most of the Patafuans had to use a sealing antidote, and they sacrificed themselves so that this sealing antidote would take effect when the Komesun tried to absorb them, and that it was sealed away. Potage is the only Patafuan left, and he, of course, is the one who tries to guard the vault, I guess you could say, the vault where the Komesun was stored, hoping that no one else will try to get it. But as we saw, Grill and his minions opened up the seal, and that's what led to the trouble we're in right now. Potage also answers Vegeta's questions regarding why Duplicate Vegeta hesitated about absorbing Trunks' power, And that's because the Komesa not only takes on the appearance and the powers of the one it duplicates, but it also inherits their personality to an extent, at least. And that's why, yeah, that explains his hesitation. He also mentions that anyone who's had their power absorbed by the Komesan will eventually die unless the Komesan can be defeated. Like, he says that when you start to disappear, that means you have about 5 minutes, maybe even less, before you vanish completely, and says that Grill and his minions probably are about done for by now. And true enough, that's what we see. Grill and his minions actually vanish. So, yeah, that means that they have to defeat Duplicate Vegeta if they want to ensure that Vegeta won't disappear. So, hearing this, they go to confront Duplicate Vegeta, and yeah, Duplicate Vegeta and Duplicate Grill eventually find everyone. Goten and Trunks use the fusion dance to to fuse into Gotenks. And after trying to fight Duplicate Vegeta in his normal form for a little bit, Gotenks transforms into Super Saiyan 3. But even at his most powerful form, Gotenks is still no match for Duplicate Vegeta, who is as strong as Vegeta would be at this point in time. And while the fight is going on, we do see Goku is still on King Kai's planet training. And like he mentioned in the previous episode, he's recovered from the loss of energy control that he had before this 3-parter started. And while Goku's taking a break to eat, King Kai actually senses Gotenks' energy and Duplicate Vegeta's, but they can't tell the difference between Vegeta's energy and Duplicate Vegeta's energy. So, yeah, that also goes along with how Duplicate Vegeta said he inherited Vegeta's energy. Goku soon picks up on what King Kai noticed, and he's surprised that the two of them are fighting, and it doesn't seem like a sparring match. And Goku uses instant transmission to get to planet Patafu, and he's able to stop Duplicate Vegeta from destroying the boys, since Gotenks' fusion time has expired now. But then he gets confused when he sees there's a purple Vegeta and a transparent Vegeta not too far off. The rest of the group quickly catch Goku up to speed on what's going on and tell him they have to beat Duplicate Vegeta within a certain amount of time, or else the real Vegeta will disappear. Duplicate Grill wants Duplicate Vegeta to absorb Goku's power, but Duplicate Vegeta refuses because he wants to fight. He wants to fight Kakarot at his own power, much like the real Vegeta would. So Duplicate Grill tries to force Duplicate Vegeta to do as he commands, but Duplicate Vegeta breaks free of the control and he gets rid of Duplicate Grill. And the episode ends just before Goku and Duplicate Vegeta begin their fight. So we had to wait 2 weeks, but it was worth the wait. Now, I mentioned this before, this 3-parter, the Patafu 3-parter, or the Duplicate Vegeta 3-parter, whatever you want to call it. From what I've read, it was not really very popular, but a lot of people were willing to give this 3-parter a chance now that, for the dub, because Brian Drummond gets to play Duplicate Vegeta. And unlike in the previous episode where he only had one line of dialogue, this time he gets a bit more dialogue. And once again, it was a real treat having both Chris Sabat and Brian Drummond playing Vegeta, or at least a variation of Vegeta in Brian Drummond's case, in the same episode. Because I mentioned it before, I first started off when Funimation and Saban teamed up and they had the Ocean cast voicing the characters. That was my entrance to the franchise. So Brian Drummond was the first Vegeta voice I heard. So it was pretty surreal hearing him and the current English Vegeta, or Funimation's current English Vegeta, together in the same episode. And yeah, it was pretty interesting how Duplicate Vegeta did inherit Vegeta's personality. Like, he does care about Trunks to an extent, and yeah, he didn't want to absorb Goku's power, but wanted to fight Goku on his own accord. Oh, and yeah, between this episode and the previous episode, I did like how Goten and Trunks had a little more to do compared to what normally is the case in Dragon Ball Super, because otherwise they don't really get to do much in Dragon Ball Super. So I appreciated what we saw of this three-parters because of Goten and Trunks having a expanded role. And it was cool seeing Gotenks fight again, and he got to be in Super Saiyan 3 form. Although, yeah, the fact that Duplicate Vegeta, who'd be as powerful as Vegeta is at the moment, was able to easily beat Gotenks, that does show how powerful Vegeta and Goku by extension have become since the Buu saga. And I know some people were disappointed that Gotenks wasn't as didn't put up as great of a fight as he was against Super Buu back in the Buu saga, but I still like seeing Gotenks back all the same. And if Dragon Ball Super ever does go beyond the point where Dragon Ball Z ended, the stuff with Oob and whatnot, I wouldn't mind seeing an older Gotenks or adult Gotenks show up. But we'll just have to be patient and see just how far Dragon Ball Super will go in the timeline. But otherwise, what else can we say? Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did think that the Patafu backstory about the Kome-san, that was, I thought that was pretty interesting. It kind of reminded me of the Tuffles. They were shown in a backstory, at least in the anime. They were never really mentioned in the manga, but yeah, the Tuffles were a species that they weren't exactly powerful, but they did have a lot of intelligence and were able to create great technology. So the Patafuyans being great at creating the Kome-san kind of was a nice touch of like that brains versus brawn idea. I thought that was a pretty cool touch. It's a shame that it backfired for them. Although Potage is pretty cheerful for the last of his species. And otherwise, yeah, I guess there isn't a whole lot else to say, but it's great to have the dub of Dragon Ball Super back on the air after a 2-week break. And we're almost done. Like I said, this is a 3-parter, so we have one more part 3 to go before we start the 4th saga of Dragon Ball Super. So I'm gonna look forward to that. And yeah, I'd have to say Brian Drummond as Duplicate Vegeta did make the episode a lot of fun to watch because of all the yeah, that's right, all the meta casting and that's it. Yeah, a lot of people felt that this episode was very meta. That's been the general conscience I've heard, and I have to agree, especially when Vegeta and Duplicate Vegeta are smack talking each other. Like, oh, you're just an imposter. No, you are just a shell of the real Vegeta. You understand? Oh, no, I'm just paraphrasing, by the way. He doesn't actually say that. As funny as that would have been, he doesn't actually say that. That was me just thinking, let's put a little joke in there for fun. But yeah, the general idea is the same, the smack talking over the real Vegeta. And that was pretty funny because in real life, Chris Sabat and Brian Drummond actually get along with each other very well. Like, Chris Sabat, of course, recognizes that Brian Drummond was the first English voice for Vegeta, And Brian Drummond has praised Chris Sabat's take on Vegeta for getting the proud prince element of the character. So that's pretty fun, and it's pretty heartwarming because, yeah, even if there's a lot of debate over the preferred voice or English voice more specifically for the characters, at least it's nice to know that the voice artists get along with each other just fine. So I like that. That's a nice touch. And it's because of them getting along how we were able to get this great casting gag. So, yeah, there you go. That's it for episode 45 of Dragon Ball Super, the Funimation dub. So, we'll be catching part 3 of the Duplicate Vegeta 3-parter next week, and I'll be sure to discuss the dub of that once it airs on Toonami. Take care, and until next time.